So my exchange with StuntCables started on October 16th, 2020. I saw an Instagram post where he was promoting his cables for a reasonable price, so I checked out his website. Shipping to Canada cost a ridiculous $50, so I told him if he fixed that, I would probably be inclined to make a purchase from him. He modified shipping the very next day, and when I checked, it went down from $50 to $13, obviously a big improvement. So at the time, all I saw was a guy taking feedback into account, and I respected how quickly he made that adjustment. So I thought, hey, he seems like a decent guy. I will buy some cables from him and support his business. Well, when I finally opened up the box, I was in for a world of disappointment. There were these chunks of cut up, dusty foam pieces surrounding the cables. I thought, it's cool, the product is all that matters here, but as I kept unpacking the cables, things just got sadder and sadder. I looked at the first pre-made cable, and when I looked closer, I noticed some red, rust-like coloring at the end of the aviator connector. One of the screws wasn't painted, and it was just silver. There was a scuff mark on the shrink wrap, and the crazy thing, the USB-C cable was rotating in place, like it wasn't fixed in properly. The custom black cable, the coils were even more loose than the pre-made, and there was glue sticking out of the shrink wrap on the USB-C end. And finally, the neon blue cable, which in my opinion wasn't very neon in color, but there was no images of the Tech Flex on the site, so I guess I couldn't really get too upset about that. But when I laid all of the cables out on the table, the only decent looking cable was the cheapest one there, the blue one, the straight one. I tried connecting the black cable right away, but immediately there was a problem. The cable was so warped that it wouldn't stay in place when it's supposed to sit there with the aviator cable pointing straight up. Instead, it veered off to the right. The pre-made cable also had the same issue. I reached out to him and I asked if there's anything he could do in the form of a refund or credit, especially since the cable definitely did not look like the images from his Instagram account, which had visible flaws, but at least the coils were tight. Well, he told me no refunds unless it's returned within 72 hours after delivery. Well, it took 2 weeks to get to me, so that was out of the question. He also said that the cables shipped looked like the ones in his Instagram images, and the image that I showed him, the ones that I showed him as soon as I took them out of the box and laid it out on the table, that was definitely not what it looked like when he packed it into the box. So the shipper must have hassled the package in a way that unwound the cables or something like that. Basically, no refunds, the shipper's to blame. Honestly, I was more disappointed and sad than anything. I decided to just make do with what I was given, try and move on from the bitter experience. Until I woke up the morning of December 6th to see a DM from a friend of mine. It was a link to a Reddit thread. It was a post from a very dissatisfied customer after purchasing coiled cables from, you guessed it, StuntCables. The post got a lot of attention on the mechanical keyboard subreddit, and as I was reading through it, that was the first time I ever felt anger regarding my experience with him. Initially, I just felt bad. I didn't want to throw him under the bus. He's just a small business. One person reached out to me on Instagram and told me he had a poor experience with StuntCables too, but I just said, damn, that sucks, and just moved on from that conversation. But reading that post on Reddit and realizing that StuntCables had been sending the same low-quality product to others in the community, and when people complained, he just repeated the same crap that he told me, basically blaming the shipper and that they looked fine when he packed the cables, that really upset me. So I decided he can't keep doing this. He can't get away with continuing to scam people like this. So I opened up a dispute with PayPal to get my money back. At this time, I had thoughts of making a YouTube video about it, but I didn't because it was like beating a dead horse by that point. I wasn't about to add to the pile of flack he was already receiving, and by that point, he'd basically shut down his Instagram account and even his logo was gone. Until he responded to the dispute not even 10 minutes later, accusing me of tampering with the cords after receiving it. He not only dug in his heels and refused to give me a refund, he said I was the one that stretched out the cords. It was my fault. Unfortunately, I recorded the entire unboxing experience and kept the footage, as sad and unusable as it was, until now. It's really funny and sad at the same time because this footage was originally intended to promote his business. Now I'm using it as proof that he runs a dishonest business, that he himself is a liar, and quite frankly, irredeemable. I consider myself pretty tolerant to bullshit, but that accusation was the last straw. I responded almost immediately to his accusatory comments, but as of right now, 6 to 7 hours later, no response. I'm just taking that as a sign to escalate the issue directly to PayPal, because it doesn't seem like I can get anywhere with him. Since calling him out on Instagram earlier in the day, more people reached out to me to confirm the poor quality product and poor customer service they also received from StuntCables. Here's some footage I was sent comparing a cable made by StuntCables versus the white one from StuntCables. Just awful. Not only that, the cable didn't even work. His response to that was, "What? Worked perfectly on my end." And then he just completely disappeared after that. No attempts to resolve the situation, nothing. He just disappeared. And another cable maker I was chatting with earlier, like a few weeks ago, thought that I was trying to make these cables myself. Like, this person thought it was my own DIY attempt and thought, oh, that's not bad for a first attempt. How embarrassing is that? And here's the thing, I had no clue. I had no clue. I don't know what to look for. And, I'm assuming that's how this guy was able to get away with this kind of business practice for so long. It's just unbelievable. I was just trying to help a small business. I was trying to help his business grow, but it looked like I helped him set up a shipping structure that allowed him to screw over even more people. And that just makes me feel so awful, but I didn't know. I didn't know any better at the time. And so, the lessons I learned from all this, just keep taking video of products that get shipped. It's just sad that you have to protect yourself like this, but it's one of the only ways that you can prove that you didn't do anything wrong. I'm going to continue unboxing things on film just to protect myself. Another thing I learned, just speak up and call people out, even if they're a small business, especially if they don't respond to feedback when they should. Chances are if you're complaining about it, how many other people have spoken up, in like a private conversation or emails with that person to try to resolve the situation. If they show no remorse, if they show no improvements after feedback, then, they deserve to be called out, and they should be called out, because that's just toxic. That's just taking advantage of good people and good people's hard-earned money. And that's just unacceptable. I just wanted to say thank you to the OP, Ketracel-White on Reddit, and to my friend who shared the post with me, because I probably never would have seen it. All right, that's it on this topic. I hope I get my money back. And if you also had a bad experience with this guy, you should definitely try to resolve the situation with him directly. And, if he accuses you of something you didn't do, like he did with me, I hope you have the proof to dispute it, because this is just ridiculous. Anyways, so sorry about the negative video, so to speak, but I just felt like I had to make this video. Anyways, see you in the next one.